So, in my first understanding traffic video, I did kind of an overview of the importance of traffic. Let's spend just a few minutes and kind of dig, some examples of some things to do, to look out for. Remember, your city. Now, there are some cities that have um, a different type of an entrance where you have two entrances to the city. But remember, most cities, there's only one way in to the city unless you're using mods. But I'm trying to stay away from any type of discussion about mods because not everybody has them. So let's use what we have with the standard game. Keep in mind, only one way into the city. This is the lifeblood of your delivery trucks. If you're using, if you're creating processors, if you're drilling for oil, you need to export. You need to import things in some situations. You may have residents coming from other cities to shop in your city. So the first thing to keep in mind is the regional highway is multi-lane, as you can see. To get into and out of the city, it turns into one lane roads. So there's already that you have to keep in mind. So let's first of all, one of the things that I used to do, and I've seen other individuals do it. So let's give ourselves a little bit more space. So one thing that I've seen people do, and I've done it, is right off the right at the beginning, they extend the road, or maybe they, and I've done this, you kind of, oh, I want to do this, and maybe curve a little bit. And this is kind of the beginning of my city, and we're going to do, let's start the game. So it'll give me, and let's have some residents, maybe some shopping, and some industry. And then as the game progresses, I'm going to build on from there. Keep in mind, this is very important. In the early stages, it may not make that big of a difference. But as soon as you start to let the game run, you're going to get individuals coming in, and as you can see, they are pulling into, and these are the delivery trucks, but they are representative of what's going on or what will be going on. So delivery trucks pull in and out because they are building houses or building a commercial location. Once they are finished, now the residents are going to come and go, especially with your two big rush hours, 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Delivery trucks are going to leave the industry and they're going to go to commercial locations. So each one of these, and it's not completely full, but there's a house, one, two, three, four, five, six, we can go on and on. Each one of these houses is basically an intersection. It may not make a big difference at the beginning, but what's going to happen is the entrance to your city, once you start to develop the city and you've got multiple buildings all around, the entrance of your city is now susceptible to heavy congestion. Also, keep in mind this is a high density highway. So it's not going to always be a single family home. You're going to end up with high rises. So now you've got multiple families trying to leave their home onto the main highway. You're going to have high rise commercial locations, you're going to have high density industry. So it's really just asking for trouble. All right. Another example is coming into the city. Let's do straight lines. Immediately coming into the city and creating blocks. Kind of the same concept, but in this situation, residential, residential, and let's do commercial. I'm sorry, industry, commercial, commercial. Same situation. Trying to get into the city, and you're going to be immediately running into residential, commercial, and industrial. And also keep in mind, Sims struggle with a four-way intersection. So they will approach and they will have to wait on the light before they move on. And because you've got them coming from multiple directions, directions, that's another opportunity to really clog the city. Um, while I have this, if you have a situation where you have a two roads intersecting, they are going to, in many cases, come to a stop. One thing that you can do to kind of keep them going is, if you have that type of a situation, curve the road. They won't stop. They'll keep going. We can get deeper into the difference between, some roads you'll get stop signs, other roads you'll get uh, traffic lights. I may save that. I may address that in a third video, but I'm really just wanting to concentrate on getting a city started and the importance of being careful about how you get your city started. So, what I always try to focus on is the concept of, if you think about real life scenarios, the expressway, you don't find people building houses and commercial locations on the expressway. The expressway is solely a way into the city. And then what you can do is, and let's just do a couple of really quick examples. What you can do is then, and let's just make a couple of just for demonstration purposes. You can make some zones. So let's say you were creating an area where you had commercial and residential, and so then what you can do, so now you can zone, let's say this is what you wanted to do. Well, I don't want that right there. But let's say you wanted to do this. Better concept. So now you are saving your expressway for expressway traffic. One of the things we just talked about is, yes, you can create curves. Now, this looks much better than the examples that we just had. However, another thing to keep in mind is if I were to do this, one thing that you'll notice is we've got an intersection here and an intersection there. So it's a good idea to try to create a bit of space between your intersections so that the traffic is not leaving one intersection and immediately getting stuck in another intersection. If I were to do this, and then once again, if I were doing this to kind of minimize the intersection, and that's not going to look good. We're just going there. You could do something like that. One thing that I really enjoy doing to take it another step further, let's give ourselves some space here. One thing that you will notice that I like to do is I know that the city is going to continue to grow, so I love the concept of a roundabout. It can be round like that, or you can do a square. You could feed traffic in. It doesn't have to be round. It could be something like that, but you round off your corners. If you want it not to always look like a let's give this more space here. There. So now you can bring your highway in two-way as opposed to a four-way intersection. And let's say I was creating zones, and we're just going to do a couple of squares here. In this particular concept, in a concept like this, I've got 4 different zones, and I could do my residential or commercial in those zones. So that's one way of attacking it. Same situation here. The only thing that's different is just the shape of your roundabout. But if you watch me create cities, you will see me creating situations where I'm doing zones. And it's not always perfect. I have to sometimes change my roundabout. So another thing that you can do from a space savings standpoint is, let's say you do have a high density, and this high density is actually has roads coming off of it that are leading to, for example, residential or commercial. It's a road that is, yes, it's a highway, but it's not being used as a highway, um, like that highway. But from a space savings, always keep in mind you can build over like that. So, and I made that very tall, but this one could be the highway. Let's say you're surrounding the city or you're trying to get traffic to a certain area, and then you can always branch a road off from here to there. And I'm not going for style points, you know, something like that, if ever you were dealing with some space constraints. But just some quick overview of how to work with traffic so that you're not getting yourself into any predicaments, especially in the middle and late stages of your city. If you'll watch the beginnings of my cities, you'll see that that's kind of, and I try to do it in different ways, just, to keep myself engaged so that I'm doing things differently, but I'll do it in slightly different ways, but you will see a variation of this concept in all of my cities, a concept of saving my expressway for traffic, not for buildings. But just a follow up to my first traffic video, just to do a few demonstrations of how to actually work with traffic. So I hope this helps. Um, have a great time with your cities. Good luck with your cities, and we'll see you soon. And take care.